In an old building located in a forgotten neighborhood of the city, there was a room that had been sealed for decades. The place, a crumbling boarding house with high ceilings and dimly lit hallways, had housed hundreds of people over the years. But no one dared enter room 302. Rumor had it that something terrible had happened there, something so disturbing that even the owners decided to board it up with planks and padlocks. Sofia, a young architecture student, moved into the boarding house in search of affordable housing. The atmosphere of the building unsettled her, but she couldn't afford anything better. During her first week, the other tenants warned her not to go near room 302. They said that, on the quietest nights, soft knocks could be heard at the door, along with a faint whisper, as if someone were trying to speak from the other side, at ease. First, Sofia didn't believe the stories. She dismissed them as superstitions meant to scare newcomers. But one night, while working late on a project, she heard it. A rhythmic sound. Knock, knock, knock. It came from the end of the hallway, where room 302 was located. Curiosity got the better of her. She grabbed a flashlight and approached the door. The boards sealing it were worn, as though someone had tried to pull them off. The knocking stopped the moment she stood in front of it. Hesitant yet intrigued, she pressed her ear to the wood. For a moment there was silence. Then a chilling whisper, "Let me out." The next morning, Sofia asked the boarding house owner about the room. He, visibly uncomfortable, told her what he knew. Decades ago, a reclusive tenant had lived there. He rarely left the room and never spoke to anyone. One night, the other, residents complained about a foul stench coming from room 302. When the owner forced the door open, he found the man sitting at his desk, writing in a journal. But the body was already in an advanced state of decomposition. He had been dead for days. What disturbed them most was the journal. In it, the man described, in detail, how something was watching him from the dark corners of the room. He wrote about feeling an oppressive presence that seemed to inch closer every night. His final entry read, "Now it's behind me." That night, Sofia couldn't sleep. Determined to uncover the truth, she pried the boards off the door with a crowbar. When she finally entered, a rancid smell overwhelmed her, as though the air inside had been trapped for decades. The room was untouched, the bed unmade, the desk layered in dust, and in one corner, the tenant's journal. As she flipped through the pages, the lights began to flicker. The knocking returned, but this time it came from inside the room. Before she could react, the door slammed shut behind her. In the dim light, a shadow moved toward the desk, and a familiar whisper filled the air. "You should never have entered." The next morning, the building's owner found room 302 sealed again, but Sofia was nowhere to be found. New tenants claim that, on the quietest nights, two voices can now be heard murmuring behind the door.